Hey guys, how's it going? It's TheMightySamsonite. Today, I'm here with another video about another hardware store lightsaber. I mentioned in the video that I made a few weeks ago with the first one, with this one, if you haven't seen it yet, at the end of the video, there will be a link to that video so you can go check it out. The reason I'm here for this video is because I made a second lightsaber from things from the hardware store. I went to a different store this time. I got completely different parts than I did last time. One thing I want to say before I get into the beef of this video, the beef. I'm gonna talk about the beef. Gotta get some beef. The meat of this video. I want to begin by saying that I'm really not trying to be a tutorial channel here. There are far better people out there who have experience and more knowledge who actually already offer tutorial videos, which is something I'm definitely going to try. If I use somebody else's tutorial to help me learn how to do something, if I do anything in these videos that involves somebody else helping me out, I'm gonna do my best to try to promote them back, help them out in any way I can, because giving knowledge is a really big deal, and it's not like I'm paying for the content. So I really just want to show what I can do and how I do it. I learn everything myself. I mean, I guess I learn things and make up my own tricks as I go along, but as I mentioned before, I'm not a professional at this. I'm just really trying to prove that I can do this. So we're going to start with talking about this lightsaber. I'm sure you got a little bit of a glimpse of it sitting back here, so I'm going to give you a little look at it. There it is. That is the new lightsaber, and this one is, unlike the other one, actually weathered, and a lot of that you're going to see later. One thing about this lightsaber that's completely different than the other one is this one is not 100% able to be disassembled, but pretty close. The only thing that doesn't really come off is this guard with the wires and the button. You'll see a little bit more about what I mean and why I wasn't able to. So without further ado, I'm going to show you quick assembling it from being completely taken apart. So I started off by laying out all my parts, and I was going to go from top to bottom, starting with the emitter. I just took the two 1024 screws with hex tops and screwed them in. Next, I put the screws in the top of the handle. They're all 1024 oval head Phillips screws. Two are 3/4 inch. Those ones are used to stop the blade from falling down into the hilt, and two are 1/2 inch, which are used to lock the blade into the hilt. The ones in the emitter top also help lock the blade in. Then I put the centering ring and the pipe nut onto the handle and slid the lower skeleton into the top of the handle. I lined up the holes and tightened it up. Next, I inserted the 4 1024 oval head Phillips screws into the holes at the bottom of the handle that lock the two halves together. It's an extremely tight fit, so it does require a little finagling to get everything in line and fit perfectly. Then came the lower grip, which is a small section of flex tubing compressed between two O-rings and the two halves of the lightsaber. Following the grip, this lower section, which is later home for the belt grommet, is screwed on to compress the grip and hold it in place. Next, another O-ring and pipe nut are added to the top of the pommel to compress the heatsink. 9 O-rings are then fit over the inner pommel, which is actually the drain pipe. And then the heatsink, which is a 2-inch PVC drain grate, is fit over the O-rings and screwed onto the bottom of the lightsaber. And it's complete. There's nothing more that I like building something and being able to take it apart and put it back together. I just love tinkering. And that's definitely one thing, if I ever am building props or other lightsabers, whatever, I really would like to aim to do that more often. So next I went on to painting and weathering this thing. I don't really know much about weathering. I've only done it in the form of really crappy dry brushing on Nerf guns many years ago. I never did anything with dirt washes or trying to make fake rust, things like that either. So I just decided to wing it. I've learned a little bit of other weathering techniques for foam, and that's pretty much what I applied here. The entire saber is pretty much metal, and the paints I ended up using were just acrylic. I think it turned out really good. Now I guess I'll show you some clips and stuff I have of painting it and weathering it. Here's a close-up of the saber before any paint. I start with the emitter, building up some dark silver layers. Which I then slightly scratch off with a rough bristled brush. It doesn't really remove much, but where it did, it left a cool brushed metal effect. I also added some black inside of the emitter to make it look charred from the heat of the blade. Next, I very lightly brushed on some silver onto the handle. I didn't want this to look too old. I really just hit all the edges and the screw holes. The dry brushing did a little more than I wanted to the inner faces of the handle, so I went back with some matte black paint to restore the paint job a little bit, make it look a little more new. There were some places I wanted to look like fresh paint chips and clean metal, so I went back with a small brush and bright silver paint, just touching up the areas that I knew I wanted to make stand out a little more. Finally, I was onto the Heatsink. Painted the whole thing a very dark lead color, and then followed up with doing some bright silver touch-ups for the weathering. I then went back and did some more bright touch-ups on the emitter, since I didn't do those earlier. All three pieces were then let to dry, and then after that I gave them a light coat of multi-surface floor finish with a sponge brush. I then reassembled the saber and it was ready for the dirt wash. I mixed up a dirt wash with some gloss black, a few different shades of brown, and water to really thin it out. And then I coated the saber in every nook and cranny I could with the wash. It started out really thin, so I ended up doing a few different coats with more paint than water, and really turned out a lot better. I let it sit for 10 to 15 minutes until it looked like it was starting to dry, and then I wiped a lot of the paint off with paper towel. I did my best to leave it in some spots. Being that it was metal, the paint didn't want to stick very well, but if I let it sit long enough, it hardened and turned out looking really, really good. Once I was happy with the amount of dirt, I taped off a few spots that I didn't want to change, and I coated it with a few coats of matte clear coat. Alright, so there it is. Now you've seen how I built and weathered and finished this lightsaber. Really, the possibilities on what you can do with parts from a hardware store are endless. I really honestly would like to make more of these, but right now I'm not going to worry too much about it because I don't have the need for any more. But I will be weathering the original one on my Twitch channel. I'm not going to make a video, but you can be sure that I will be doing a Twitch stream for weathering that one. So if you want to see that, be sure to head on over to my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/TheMightySamsonite. Give me a follow, and you'll know when I'm streaming. Right now, it's a little random, but I mean, it probably will be just random for now until I actually get some viewers. So if you also want to keep up with me and you don't have time to watch a Twitch stream, another great way you can help out is by heading over to my Instagram, instagram.com/TheMightySamsonite. Actually not sure what the links are for Instagram because I've never used it on the computer. But regardless, links to my Twitch and my Instagram will be in the description below. I also want to make mention that I plan to open up contracted work for original pieces. If you want anything contracted, if you want any work done, contact me about it. We'll see if we can make something work. So that's really the end of this video. I do have some videos in the wheelhouse. The next few projects I'm going to be doing on this channel, we need 2 blasters for this short film. Originally it was going to be troopers, but we're going to be doing some bounty hunters now. And since I have a ton of old Nerf guns, I decided that I'm gonna some heavy body work on these guns to make them not look like Nerf guns and look more like blasters from Star Wars. So yeah, if that's something that sounds interesting to you, like I said, give me a subscription. That kind of thing really helps me out. Also, give me a thumbs up. Yeah, that's all I really got for you today. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching, and I'll see ya.